Hey guys, how you guys doing today? Hope you're having a great day. I want to talk a little bit about conspiracy theories today, and stick with me. I think this will be good. Not that I am a conspiracy theorist per se. We'll get into that a little bit deeper, but I think it's important to talk about everything. So if I haven't talked about a topic or a subject, and you would like me to discuss it, please send me a message and I will try to cover that subject or topic. Today, we're going to be talking about conspiracy theories. Actually, I had somebody make a whole website or post a whole article about Mike Shanklin and how I didn't talk about Bigfoot. I couldn't tell if it was a joke website or serious website. It was an anonymous user. Anyway, I don't really care about Bigfoot. Just to let you know, I don't think it has anything to do with public policy or philosophy. So whoever made that, I just wanted to kind of clarify that right off the bat. So let's talk about conspiracy theories. Since I've had some interesting individuals say, you're such an outlandish guy, how can you not be a conspiracy theorist per se? And I think there's a lot that goes in. It's kind of like a loaded term. So what is a conspiracy theorist, right? A conspiracy theorist is somebody, usually when in the mainstream, when somebody hears about a conspiracy, one of the first things that pops in their head is it's associated with government doing bad to us. Maybe not directly through them. Maybe it's some kind of a fiduciary or some other kind of a responsibility that's handled through a mutual agreement. It's like a corporation going to government, which corporations are just anti-free market, government licensed businesses that gain special advantages over other market firms and industries, right? But let's continue on with this because I have plenty of information on corporations too. You can click on my links and hear all about that. Sticking on the conspiracy theories, though, most of the time, what I'm trying to get at here is that it's associated with government doing bad to somebody, or maybe through something else, through a company, through us, or maybe just another individual goes into it. But it always has something to do with government doing something bad to us, right? In most cases. And in most cases, the conspiracy theory is unproven. It's non-factual, right? So it's not a principle or an axiom that's been tested with a scientific method and we have empirical evidence on and we can come to a rational conclusion. It's quite the opposite. That's not at all how it works, right? And I think it's important with conspiracy theories. It's just whatever they think is out there, they're going to try and form. They use what's called confirmation bias to try and confirm their bias through articles, videos, links, articles, stuff like that. Even though in most cases they really often produce no real sources, and it's just a lot of conjectural stuff and subjective. And maybe in some cases it's true. Let's say it's true. Who cares? Who gives a crap? Nobody, right? Nobody cares if it's true, and if it's true, we'll never really know that it's true, right? And if it's wrong, you're just looking like a fool running around here. So the people, I don't want to just attack conspiracy theorists, though. Okay, that's not what I'm making this video for. There's a dichotomy. Okay, so you have people who just believe in almost anything that's outlandish and fringe. And then on the other side, you know what's on the other side of the spectrum? Most people can't guess usually when I go into this little discussion with them. On the other side of this are people who just believe whatever the state says, right? So the state can make me safe. They'll take away guns from criminals. They'll stop all drugs that are hard, and they're going to feed every child. And the wars are for peace and whatever else the BS they try to say and make up, right? So whatever the state says, people just follow that. That is just insanity. That's just insanity. There's actually like a middle ground here. There's actually a middle ground. And it's in between the conspiracy theorists attacking the government and those. That middle ground is actually the ground where you find only what's factual. Maybe you can investigate other things. I'm not saying that an investigation of 9/11 or anything like that is going to be good because it's going to be done through government people anyway, right? So it's like the good old boys system patting each other on the back if there was ever an investigation. It's kind of like when a police officer gets in trouble with a month of vacation paid, right? After he shot somebody who was innocent. It's just insanity to believe you're actually going to get justice from this monopolized justice system. It's just absolutely ludicrous. It's silly. You're naive in your thought process if you actually believe that, right? So what we need to do is, first of all, from this other perspective, is maybe find we actually need to find a praxeological base. And then on the other side of this, we need to realize that not everything that is said about government is necessarily true. They already do enough bad stuff anyway. I've already said this a million times. We already have enough. There's already a guilty verdict on government, right? Just to exist, they have to point guns at peaceful people. You don't need anything else, really. There's all these other examples you can use that are actually real and tangible. Governments killing 275 million people in this last 100 years. Governments, one of the leading causes of death, real death. This isn't just some imaginary number like these people are off in some fantasy planet far away, right? This is real, happening right now here on this earth. Thousands of innocent children died. 500,000 innocent children dead because of an American government. These are real facts. These are facts, not conspiracy theories, okay? I stick to facts. We already have enough evidence. It's a guilty verdict. Government's guilty, okay? Don't need to go chase the witch hunt, the white horse, this white dragon over here. Let that unicorn fade away, man. You don't need that. That's my plea to the conspiracy theorists out there. But I think it's also important for us to take this the next step. Let's go even deeper with this conversation. Because conspiracy theories historically have been associated, and the reason they're even called conspiracy theories is to demonize and belittle those who are usually speaking out against government. That's why they're usually associated with government conspiracy theories. First of all, obviously, you're trapped to government too, right? So it's not like Best Buy can do this to you. Best Buy is not going to tackle you, right? We've been over this before in other videos. Best Buy is just not going to tackle you and arrest you and steal your money. They can't do that legally. Only government can. Only people who call themselves government. All these people are doing is seeking their own self-interest, their own rational, if you want to call it that, self-interest. Is truly short-term self-interest, and maybe from a rationality perspective, I don't know how you can call anything rational when looking at just the short term, but it's obviously not long-term rational, but they're inevitably seeking their own self-interest, and that's inevitable. They do not find a praxeological root, and in many cases, the people who support government, and this is what I think is the bulk of this video, is that it's basically those who speak against the freedom and anarchy or self-ownership, whatever you want to call it, freedom, individual freedom. Those who speak against us owning ourselves, they're really just conspiracy theorists of the marketplace, right? Everything that they bring up about the marketplace, it's going to starve all the children, and the marketplace is why we have war, and people are going to put lead in our food to kill us, and that's why we have to have the FDA, and that's why we have to have DHS, and that's why we have to have the Federal Reserve to protect our money and all the rest of this nonsense. Well, the Federal Reserve has taken our dollar down to an evaluation of at least 4 cents, if not less, in just under 100 years. You call that protecting money? You call that protecting money? You're 9 times now, I think, more likely to die from a police officer than a terrorist. And you're protecting us? You're protecting us? You say you're there to help me secure my property, but you steal half of it. You steal half of my stuff. Not directly through income tax per se, through property tax, sales tax. I can go on a million, gas tax, all kinds of other taxes that are out there that we wouldn't even need if we actually charged people on usage instead of basing it on political whim. So most of the people out there who are in the state and calling for a state and attacking the free market, all they're really doing is showing that they have been fear-mongered. That's it. They've been scared. They've been feared by their own freedom into believing that they have to have a plutocracy or some kind of hierarchy system that's forced on them, not voluntary. This is what we're dealing with, is people who are believing in myths, these mysticalists who believe that the state is going to ride in with its magic pins and save us from a marketplace that's out to get us. When in all reality, they are the marketplace. We are all the marketplace. If anything, government is in their marketplace too. They just don't want to acknowledge it like that. They can't admit to the fact that government has a gun in the room and it points it at us. Guns, nothing wrong with guns. There's a problem with pointing it at peaceful people, and that's what government does. They can't accept this fact, though, because everything, their whole societal and their mental structure in their head, which technically we need to get rid of out of their head, which has been holding back humanity for thousands of years, it would all collapse and fade away and evaporate. Gone. If they actually found a praxeological root, right? If they actually understood virtue ethics and could grasp the ideal of the non-aggression principle and axiom, then they would actually understand why most of the other stuff in the world happens. Why is there so much corruption that we always need to fix? They're always reforming stuff, right? Just had Lawrence Reed from the Foundation for Economic Education on my show. They're always trying to reform stuff he was talking about. He's brought this up numerous times. When I was at FEE with him, he actually talked to me about this, and he was just saying, and he's absolutely correct, the system always tries to reform itself. It's always reforming itself, right? It's been doing that for thousands of years. That's the chant: reform, 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 reform. It's insanity at this point. Even Einstein says doing something over and over again and expecting a different result is insanity. That's insanity. Maybe that's not the true etymological root definition, but I think it's still somewhat coherent and can at least have some kind of a positive correlation with that term. So when we look at conspiracy theorists, what do you label? There's such a gray area. Because I don't believe in every single word in the 9/11 Commission report, does that make me a conspiracy theorist? Because I don't think government can feed people. Looking over at Mao Zedong's Great Leap Forward, everybody was in on that, right? Hold up your communist books. I hate to even use anarcho-communism in that, because I know there's a lot of peaceful anarchists who just want to communize, which is fine. You could do that in an anarcho-capitalist society or voluntary society. But the government, they can't feed every child. They can't protect us by forcing us to be under their protection. That's just not how it works. That's not how society operates efficiently and effectively and honestly and ethically, which is the most important things, right? Because to the statist, the ends, they're always chasing the ends, and they can always justify their means. But their ends are so out there. It's the conspiracy theorism of the marketplace. Every single statist is a conspiracy theorist against freedom and individual self-ownership. It's all fear-mongering. That's all the state is. It's just a group of guys with guns who fear-monger the rest of the population so that they can get more control because there's so many people that just flock to it. That's all it is. And then they monopolize everything. And then people wonder why it's so bad that they always have to reform everything. It's this endless cycle of insanity. Of absolute insanity. And to those who you label as conspiracy theorists because they're attacking stuff of the government that is factual, just shows that you're lazy. It shows your lack of initiative, not our lack of time and research. So there's actually numerous things that the governments, not just one, but all governments have done and always will do because they're a monopoly of violence. And until you understand that fact, you're simply nothing more than a conspiracy theorist for the marketplace.